And then our presenters will talk about language teaching concept being a result of their internal needs analysis research. And the title of their presentation is Designing Language Courses for the 21st Century Competencies.
Oh, sorry.
This was planned. Please welcome our speakers.
Sorry for that.
We think that we live unusual times, right? Everybody is convinced. But are we? Let's look what we think is special about us. Okay, I think we always say we live in globalization. Yeah, but people always moved around in a search for better living. And as soon as they settled down, they started exchanging goods and services. And as soon as they settled at the location, they started being interested in the surroundings and started moving down again, right? Moving around again. They also work on communication, how to connect each other, right? Now we have all these tools and gadgets, and we use internet and also all sorts of social media technologies. But it's about the same as it was in the past. They built roads. They started with telephone and television and so on. So communication always was also a case. And of course, humankind always searches for ways how to make their life easier, how to stop destroying their health and bodies with hard work and so on and so on. So the result of it is nowadays artificial intelligence, Industry 3, Industry 4. Okay? So while all this happens, of course, nowadays the difference is the speed. Yeah? All these changes took place in eras or maybe decades or centuries, but now it's, centuries, now it's decades and years. Yeah? There are of course skeptics who start threatening disappearing jobs. Within 20 years, there'll be 10% of the jobs disappearing, 35% will substantially change, and nobody knows how. Yeah? There'll be new ones, but we don't know how they will look like, and people will have to reorient on humankind, human work, because machines will take over their jobs, right? At the same time, every change is a chance. So there are those who are progressive and who take this advantage for their benefit. Yeah. And you know, on the market, there are the market leaders, there are the all sorts of innovators and so on, and they just start the change and take it as an advantage. The problem is we need new skills, right? In the business sphere, they're described. They're called transversal skills because in addition to the technical and digital skills and so on, which is of course logical, there are transversal skills which kind of can be packed into the group of soft skills: communication, cooperation, problem solving, critical thinking, and so on. Yeah, so this is how business field knows what to do. Yeah, it's a research from PricewaterhouseCoopers. If you look into educational strategy documents, we have it there as well, right? 21st century skills. You look into the white papers, national or even international OECD documents, and all these strategy documents in education. Seem like knowing. So how come the change in the educational field does not go that fast, or why it's not as dynamic? And the answer is simple, because the educational field is very much dependent on state administration, state decisions. It is very much dependent also on political representation. As soon as they develop a strategy or something, politicians change and cancel everything and start from scratch again. And we have this complex system of parents and students and teachers and so on. So that's why the educational field is not as dynamic. So our presentation is actually about searching for a way how to get through even in the field of education. And before we start speaking about our research, I'll just pass the word to my boss, finance advisor, and so on. She's the more qualified because she's the vice dean of the university. So about who we are. Okay.
Two slides. Well, I have to say that Skoda University wasn't here during the sessions yesterday, but just to summarize briefly some key issues. The school was established in 2000, and it is interesting that CercleS was established in April 2000, so we got the government approval in April 2000. Yeah, so we are celebrating 20th anniversary. We started with the bachelor degree programs in Czech, then master degree program in Czech later on. Then we also created the programs in English. And the programs are in business administration with different specializations and also industrial management. So, and we've got besides national, we have also the international accreditation. What is unique on our program is the internship. I will mention it again in a while. We also provide the students with full-time, part-time study programs, and we have also dual study programs. If you have a look at study and work program, it is what is called dual study programs, where the students, the talented students, are selected in the process. The company supports them financially. They have the internship from the very beginning of their studies, the first semester, throughout their studies. And they study and they have, I would say, somehow tailor their study plan so that they have great chances to get the perfect job after they finish their studies. But also the other students, they have the mandatory internship, either in the Czech Republic or abroad. And again, thanks to the connection with Skoda Auto and Volkswagen Group and other companies, because we have partners like IMV or PricewaterhouseCoopers or IBM and other companies, financial institutions. So the students have great chances to work with internationally or multinational companies. I'm just what I want to mention. So just talking about languages and study internationalization, so international concepts and strategies for international cooperation are very ambitious. Strategy of our ministry 21 to 30 says that it's not about language teaching, it's not about implementing intercultural or transcultural skills into the curricula. It's about implementing everything into the subjects, into overall organization. And it means that we have to implement the languages into that, because without that we can't speak together. No application can help you. We have a lot of applications talking together, but it doesn't help. So we have really lucky institution that we have really extensive language strategy at our school, teaching languages on bachelor degree level with the aim of B2. For the students who are entering this course without the B1 level, we have preparatory courses free of charge. Then we have mandatory English, and then second language, which is also mandatory, with A2 minimum. Some who can select the higher, because they entering university with 2 languages on higher level. We have mandatory English in master degree, again with the C1 level, also free of charge preparatory courses for those who are not there, especially when entering from other university. And beside that, at our department we teach also electives, which are aimed at different subjects, all taught in English. And we are really lucky because our universities are trying to cut their budgets if they have to, and where to cut the budget? Somewhere where the accreditation files there's something at the end of the files. If you know how it looks like, so languages are among physical education and subjects we can just cancel, we can delete them. So a lot of institutions are cutting the language teaching, so they provide just online courses, just you have to pass the certificate, then we will recognize it, but no lessons or reduced lessons for 1-2 semesters. CercleS helps a lot in that dialogue with the ministries, but I have to say we are really lucky school with full support of our government, of our management. And I will pass this word over.
Okay. We have this debate in our institution among colleagues, and we listen very frequently to, or this debate is about who actually knows better what the students need. Guess what the debate is about. Yeah? We are convinced that the students, because they pass their internships, they have the experience of what they need for their practice, and if you ask them, interestingly enough, they are very precise in naming it. Yeah? So now we are presenting research that we replicated 3 times. Yeah? First in 2006, yeah, we used 45 full-time students, 41 full-time students, 28 part-time students working full-time and studying part-time, and 25 supervisors who actually worked with them during their internship. Yeah? And we used this survey way of like data collection. Yeah? The purpose was to find out what they need or what they missed. Yeah? Interesting results. Now, we don't need to study into too much detail. We have a scale of 5. How do you assess your language skills when you were using them during the internship? Perfect, very good, satisfactory, not very good, poor. Now, focus on those that I would put into the category of positive, which would be perfect and very good. The satisfactory, there is something already missing, right? Full-time students, 34%. None of them perfect. None of them feel they would be perfect, yeah, or effective. Part-time students are more positive about themselves. Yeah? Now we can question why it is. We don't have the answers. Yeah? But what is really interesting, at the same time, the supervisors say that 13% out of them do speak perfectly. But the students don't do. Right? That's interesting, and let's remember this for the next replication. Is it about confidence? Is it about being too critical? Or maybe, I don't know, okay? We also asked them what they would like to see in the lessons to be the center of attention. And they say, we miss vocabulary, yeah. We want speaking skills, we want writing skills. If you look at it, it's productive skills, yeah? Which would, in the eyes of the student, should dominate the lessons. 2016, we replicate this. And now look at what we find. We have 72 masters, but the bachelors were actually at the last semester of bachelors, and these were students in the first semester of masters, and they were all speaking about their practice during their bachelor. Yeah? So it's just one semester difference. That is 72 out of them. The same purpose. Yeah? What do you need, what do you miss, what do you want to have in lessons? And these students actually, and there's a change. 11 excellent, 40% quite good, which makes 51% assessing their language skills positively. Now, the question is why? Yeah? Again, you cannot say it very clearly, but in this replication, we also asked them to assess themselves as either active or passive like language users. And we look at the distribution of percentage, active, passive, it kind of corresponds with the excellent, quite good, and rather not as positive evaluation. And we also ask them why. And this is already indicating some answer. They say, I'm afraid to do things. I'm afraid of getting a bad grade. I'm afraid to be embarrassed. And so on and so on. So it indicates self-confidence. It indicates that there's maybe something wrong in how we teach languages because they are very much focused on mistakes, not making a mistake, not being punished for the mistake. So let's think about that. Of course, we cannot now, that would be more research. Again, 1v1 in lessons. And this is about the same as we found out 10 years before. Yeah, productive skills. Speaking vocabulary just switched in the amount. So speaking now is more and writing. Yeah? But generally, there is a shift from being to being more critical to being more happy. There is a shift. Now, the shift may have varied purposes. Maybe because we implement these changes into our courses. Maybe it improved. But maybe because of globalization and all those opportunities and so on, the students already generally know the language better 10 years later. And so on. Yeah. So it may be varied reasons for that. Okay, now the last project, the last replication was taking place through a project, international project, and I will now present results of research in 2 institutions. This time it was done, the surveys or the research was done by professional agencies. And the purpose was about the same, find out what the schools need to implement into their teaching to prepare students better for their practice. Yeah. So, China. This is what China found out. The students are missing practical skills or need more drill in soft skills, need to learn how to collaborate better, need to get corporate experience, because that was the purpose of the project, to connect academia with the professional field. Yeah. And develop entrepreneurial spirit and social responsibility. And then we have Vietnam, with very similar results. Yeah. The difference was that in Vietnam, they also found out that the students need to learn about how to move around in the world of internet more safely. Yeah. Otherwise, it's about the same. So we take all this and we put it into creating our teaching model. Yeah. So what did we actually what it implicates, or what we took out of it? We want to we decided to switch from traditional type of language teaching into task and competence-based teaching. We also implemented cooperative and interactive teaching methods, focused on problem solving, critical thinking, and so on. Develop learner autonomy, because this is what I really believe in. Yeah, we are not teaching the students anymore. We are preparing them for being lifelong learners. Yeah, whatever they come out from school, they have to continue working on, and maybe they have to learn a new language. So they need the strategies, the techniques, the methods, rather than to be taught the language. Yeah, we are not a service. Yeah, we are coaching or maybe mentoring. Yeah, developing our responsibility. So our teaching model has, now we will show it to you in this kind of a matrix. Yeah, so I'll explain what is there. We focus on key language skills. Because the students, when we ask them what they want to be taught, we want to use and work with actual topics. Yeah. We want to have more challenging tasks. We want to be more active. We want to be more involved through all sort of simulation and interaction. We also want to have clear learning outcomes. Yeah. And last semester was an excellent pace, balance in class with self-study at home. I was shocked during the semester last semester that the students, when they got a chance to organize their life more independently, started following completed their self-study assignments on a regular basis. I don't know what your experience is, but I was shocked. Yeah. So definitely this is very important. So that's the matrix. Yeah. It's kind of like may look complicated, but this is the competence-based line. Each assignment, and this is actually a Module 1 management topic. It's 1 semester course, 12 weeks, yeah? Focused on subtopics, managers, motivation, HR management, recruitment, and diversity management, women in business, and intercultural communication, all these subtopics, yeah? Now, the subtopics, the competence-based line for each of the requirements that we put to fit the topic, yeah? We have a balanced reading, listening, writing, speaking skill development. And that is divided into in-class activities and self-study activities for each of them. Yeah. And of course, they have some kind of like a percentage toward the final grade. Yeah. And this is like we always have progressive assessment, and progressive assessment is actually throughout the semester tasks covering development of the individual language skills. Yeah. Then we have individual reflection when we want students to also be interested in social issues related to the topic and present and summarize in written form about something. So we also, again, this is reading, speaking, and also writing tasks. To fit the HR and recruitment, the students develop their job application package. And again, they put together their CV, motivation letter, again, writing, maybe reading, studying, and so on, but also they record elevator pitch. So they also do speaking. So we try to balance the tasks-based approach with the competence-based approach. Yeah. And then we have a book review because we feel this is the first semester of the master's degree. We feel that the students should be motivated to read. So they can pick a book of their choice, fitting the topic, but it's very easy if you have a motivation and you will write just fit into the motivation topic. So they actually are encouraged to read a book, to write a book review, and to defend the book within a round table. Again, reading, writing, speaking. Yeah? And they also have a self-study listening exercise when they watch a movie. Now, just for this semester, I picked Kon-Tiki. Anybody knows that movie? Kon-Tiki? Yeah, okay. Watch it. Yeah, don't listen, watch it. Very much covers everything of the subtopic, everything from the subtopics. And we have this kind of like reflection. They have to reflect their own experience, and it's also like their knowledge and yeah. And of course, to have the courses modern, interactive, cooperative, we integrate all sorts of modern, interactive methods aimed at critical thinking into the lessons. So we kind of like left the grammar precision because accent in lessons because we feel like at the higher education level, it's wasting time and human resources to teach them grammar again. Yeah, because they started at the elementary level, they continued and repeated in the high school level. In our bachelor degree, they again have, of course, strong also building grammatical foundation. So in the master's degree, we decided not at all. So we have a final test, but our final test is focused on vocabulary. And yes, thank you. Last sentence. Last semester, I even developed this individualized vocabulary because this is what I believe in. Not assigning the students what they study, but have the students create their own vocabulary, but we have a condition must be C1 level, yeah, so that they don't put there to write, to read, yeah. So whenever they read or listen to something, they have to extract 5 or 10 the assigned words, they add it into their individual vocabulary list, they submit it week 11, I create individualized tests, which is not as much time as I was afraid of. It's not that difficult, yeah? And they write their own vocabulary test, yeah? So, that's, I would say, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
amazing. My question was maybe a little bit backwards to the two studies that you have done, and I've noticed there was a gap of 10 years between the first and the second one. So my question is, have you reflected the answers in your courses somehow?
Yes.
Yes, so if you have, isn't it suspicious that in the first query you found out that your students lack vocabulary and speaking, and you do something and you try to do more vocabulary and speaking, and after 10 years of your constant work on that, your students still want more vocabulary and speaking. What do you think happened there? I don't know, it's just a question that...
Maybe if I look at myself, I never had enough vocabulary and speaking. Yeah, I think that vocabulary for every expert, vocabulary is something that's never ending. And the vocabulary in the students' case was rather like technical or specialized because they go for internship into logistics departments. Yeah? So we cover logistics, but we do not cover like the very details. Yeah? So what they actually speak about in terms of vocabulary is either colloquial, which means they need experience with everyday English, which is difficult to really give them in lessons, or they need something that is really the technical, like specialization related.
Okay, so do you feel like it's just the need that can be never satisfied?
No, that's one thing, but also I would say like in 2006, it was done, but it was not that okay. But
So when we decided for the first survey in 2006, it was because of the feeling and responses of students returning from the internship, and the school was quite small, so that they are missing something. And the vocabulary, definitely, I say no, so we will never be satisfied with our vocabulary. Students from different departments, it's impossible to cover all the topics, but we had to implement the skills into the curricula, and we try, and still, we've been trying to persuade the students that the most important is how to work with the language in practical life, because if you start working for a department or a company, you will acquire the proper language of that specific department or company or environment on site. It's impossible to teach everything at school, but you have to be able to transfer your skills into practical life easily, and then you can learn whatever you want. You can have technical English aimed at automotive and assembly line stuff, or working for the financial institution, so different language, different vocabulary. And it is what Dasha says, the students still feel some deficit, and we have to persuade them again and again and again that it's not only about vocabulary.
Yeah, but there's one more, I think, very important detail. Only after the second replication, we changed to the task-based and competence-based approach. We did not do it before. We used traditional, like textbooks. We had this division like grammar, like related lessons and so on. And 2016, we made this like real, I would say, significant decision to change the stuff. So we may be looking for another replication and the next one will have the whole thing. Thank you very much for yeah.
Maybe just short.
I have this, thank you very much for your interesting presentation. I would like to ask you if you could tell us some more details how you organize teaching and learning of students during the last semester. You said that you were surprised by the activities, but which way technically you organize it?
We are lucky to have 2 weeks of like in-class lessons.
Yeah.
I hope we will have some this semester as well. And then of course, like I felt uncomfortable because I am the contact person. Yeah, and I love interaction. So of course we use the MS Teams, and I tried to simulate the style into that. So for example, we had debates in module 3. We had debates. Yeah. So I gave them like some kind of a task. I divided them into groups. I gave them 15 minutes. The groups contacted each other, read something, or completed something, maybe like drew something and then presented it. And then, for example, we started debating together. So I try to keep them alert, yeah, so that they do not cook like my son was cooking when he was having lessons for us, because it was his turn. But at the same time, yeah, I try to make it as interactive as possible.
You try to simulate somehow the real lesson from the class. So only this device you use, it is MS Teams or some other device like Zoom?
No, we used MS Teams, but the students, when I left them for like, gave them 10 minutes or they even did like surveys with among each other. I said, let's do a class mini survey. Each of you will contact each of you and will collect answers for some question. And you have 15 minutes for this, and I want presentations after that. Yeah, so we tried, yeah, because it's a communication skill, kind of a course. You cannot present as a teacher.
I would add just one sentence. What really played the big role and to success that we follow this regular schedule. So the students have the time slots the same as they were scheduled for the regular public class teaching. Even for the part-time students, the Saturdays and Fridays afternoon were just kept on, and they were really happy with that.
And we have everything in
Thank you very much for this work, because there is a big discussion about us now. So the coming semester,
and we really scheduled, we followed the schedule. No exceptions, and it was fine.
Okay, time's up. Let's thank the speakers.